immortalized in hey Shawn.
There's my early arrivals. You guys are
I love today's hat.
You guys are responsible. Well, this is the most spring-like, sunny day that we've had. 70-degree weather here in Denver. So,
Jesus, it's still 45 here.
Appropriate.
Michigan.
Rainy and crappy here, so clearing up tomorrow.
I'm just doing the usual setup so you guys chat and be entertaining. Can you guys hear the Avengers theme music in the background there?
Very, very lightly.
Yep.
That's cool.
Speaking of which,
much better there.
Turn it up for now while I'm setting up the Facebook Live and everything else.
This song gives me goosebumps no matter when I hear it.
Just got my tickets. Very excited.
I see now why you couldn't do the $1,000.
Yeah.
Did you see how much they're going for online?
No.
Some people are eBaying opening night tickets for $5,000.
Holy shit balls!
Really?
Yep. That's why I love living in a little city, because I can walk up and get them right now.
I'm a small city too. I went up and bought them online tonight, and I'll get them. I'll walk to the theater and go, here's my phone.
Yep.
So.
So it's going to be a very different thing tonight.
I was reading about them. I think this will be fun.
Yeah, I meant to grab the rule book because I usually have that in hand. Oh, I got to grab the rule book actually. It's upstairs. That's where my character is. I'll be back. Oof. In a second. Hang on. There we go.
For anybody who's watching this part of the broadcast, this is just the early setup. A couple of guys are already logged in. I'm just setting up on the Facebook. The game actually is scheduled to start in 9 minutes. And yes, I am playing Avengers theme stuff in the background while we're all hanging out, waiting for the others to pop in.
Awesome.
I think of more fitting music to get pumped up for it.
Oh, have you guys seen some of the lead up stuff? Like there's one called I posted up on my Facebook. So when Last Chance, holy crap, that thing was goosebumps. Like stuff from all the movies, and then some stuff from the previews.
Yeah. Did you see the one that a fan made and inserted Deadpool into everything?
No, and
Yes.
no. I'm okay with when they bring Deadpool in if they really want to, but I don't like Deadpool works in his own universe. He does not work in the very serious Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I had a conversation with a student today who's like, yesterday, I didn't know X-Men was Marvel. Like, when did X-Men become Marvel? I'm like, they've always been Marvel.
It was Marvels that they just couldn't use mutants or adamantium or...
Right?
Now they can.
Yep. All right.
So we actually had quite a few people who signed up wanting to participate in this, and I'm fine with having more than the standard 4 since we have plenty of other pre-gens that are floating around for people to play with now. Tonight was supposed to be Norbert, he said he's on his way in. Corey Williamson was going to play, but he was mostly signing up just to make sure that I had enough players because early on we didn't. I suspect he'll probably battle out. David Parker had originally wanted to sign up for all of them, so I don't know if he's going to come or not. Johua de Santo, who I do not have as friends on Facebook and can't find on Facebook, so I sent him the link via the message system for P&PUE for the Kickstarter. So maybe he'll get it. Shawn, you're here. Michael Walsh had also indicated that he wanted to play tonight. So quite a lineup of folks wanting to participate, which is cool because we're going to do a major disaster, which will have plenty of things for people to do.
Always.
My puppy has been ill again today, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on with her.
Oh no.
She's not acting sick like she was, but she seems to be still having some whatevers, so we'll see.
That's sad. Poor puppy. So, Brett, you have no idea what characters to make?
I have ideas. I'm waiting until I'm yelled at and I'm told no.
Well, we were careful about saying that, that at least I hope we were careful about saying that consultation and making sure that,
You did say that, because I have a character too.
There you go. So it'll all be for the Pinnacle City setting. So that'll be all good.
Cool.
And then since it's very likely that we are looking at a second Kickstarter to do Modern Gods and stuff like that, then I will set that up specifically for people to have characters and concepts added to the Modern God setting as well. I mean, as much as I'd love to get us there, it is what it is, and I'm fine with that. We're doing really well. We have a few other stretch goals we can hope for at this point. And the 24-hour thing, that's been known to blow the doors off more than expected just because people get so excited and involved at that point. So we'll see how that plays.
I'm glad it's on Sunday because I can watch you go a little bit crazy before.
Right? So we are at the point now where some of the other people who are going to play are supposed to be in here. So
I'll check Facebook.
that's what I'm doing.
They'll show up.
So who did you decide you're going to go with for tonight there, Shawn?
Vigilant, because I love messing
Yeah,
with you.
well, tonight, Vigilant will have different kinds of challenges. Preparation may not be...
I know. Well, it's fire, so he probably will be less about messing with you and more about dealing with fire controls, what I'm guessing.
And are you going with Talon? Brett?
Yep.
Hey, Norbert.
Hello.
And how are you tonight?
I'm good. I just had one of those energy drinks because it's just so late in my time zone. But it doesn't matter.
And I'm very grateful to have you joining us. I recognize it. That's a bit more of a sacrifice on that end of things. So very, very grateful on that. I'm actually making sure I call up to have a specific copy of TK on hand so that I can help you talk through since you've not had a chance to play yet.
Yeah, is that the one that appears at the end of that PDF?
Correct. Yes, she's one of the 4 that is a pre-gen that is done in the quick start. Yes, so she's got the really good flight power. She's got the fantastic force field area effect power, and then she also has area on her telekinesis. So she is just a powerhouse when it comes to those abilities. And I think so she does have the flaws, especially with her power limits. So that's a thing to play with. And I think one of the things that I've noticed most that people have been having the biggest, not really a challenge, but it's like a paradigm shift in how they have to think. Flaws don't give you points. In fact, to have more than 3 flaws, you actually have to spend points to take more flaws. And that's because you have pretty much control of your flaws with some very few exceptions. And those, because there's a couple like enemies and relationships or plot device flaws. So the GM is encouraged to mess with those as plot device kind of things. But you can invoke any of your flaws during gameplay to cause you difficulty. And in doing so, you get a cool narrative moment and you earn resolve doing so. So somebody else was asking earlier about, how powerful are there different levels of this flaw I should take? I said, no. You take the flaw, you define the flaw, you control the flaw. You decide when that flaw comes into play, and then it feeds you resolve when it does. But if you have a situation where you don't want it to come into play, then that's your choice. So the power limits thing, that's up to you to decide if at some point you're like, I really want to take this panel and cause my powers go berserk and cause a problem, or they don't work right and I lose my turn, then you have a resolve for that because you decided to tell that narrative based on your flaws. And I just want to make sure, since this is your first time playing, these guys are kind of gotten used to it, but since it's your first time in, I want to make sure you don't miss out on that particular aspect. Everything else is pretty straightforward. I want to do a thing. I roll dice, but the flaws thing, like I said, it's the one thing that the newer players have like, I'm not so sure about how that works. So I just wanted to make sure I got that out there. I'm going to give another couple of minutes since we're right at the top of the hour, and I did have others who wanted to pop in. Leonard Pimentel is in the chat. Okay. Hey, I sent it to your message. I use the message system from Prowls and Paragons because I don't have an email address or I don't have you on Facebook. So the hell with it. I'm just going to post it up in the in the thing.
He might not have started broadcasting.
Huh?
He might not have started broadcasting because that threw me for a loop.
So Johua and Len, if you're going to pop in as well, it's right there on the front page now. Go ahead and grab that. Anybody else who's watching, be nice. Don't use that unless you're actually going to come into play. But Leonard and Johua, sorry. The link to actually come in and go live is sitting in the pinned right now to the front of the screen if you're going to pop in. So that should be that. Hopefully they will be able to get in a second. So all of the previous 1 hour demos have been pretty traditional. Do a little bit of investigation or a little preparation, and then go find the bad guys and knock them on the snout. And that's the fun stuff, right? That gives every chance to kind of roll some dice and see what's going on. Tonight, though, I wanted to do something special and different. I wanted to show off a particular set of rules. Ah, there he is, Johua.
Hey, I don't know why. It took me to the old one.
Ah, very sorry about that, brother. But here you are now. Very, very good. And again, I need to make sure I'm saying this. Is it Johua? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, it's good.
Johua, okay. And who did you want to play tonight, Johua?
So, I really liked it. Is Alabama Slammer still available?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yes.
I will play her again.
Shawn is playing Vigilant again. Brett is very fond of Talon and is playing him. Norbert is joining us from Germany and is playing PK. And so you're playing Alabama Slammer. Very good. All right. So we have 4 players and me, and that is more than enough to get started. So what we're going to do tonight, as I said, we're going to play with the disaster rules, which I did actually post them up as an update today. By the way, in the chat right now is Leonard Pimentel, and if you guys are watching this on the simulcast on Facebook, I'm sorry, but I'm going to be juggling way too much tonight. So hopefully there is somebody with a pro attitude that's paying attention over there who can kind of help out if there's any questions pops in. But if you really want to ask questions, join us over here on the Kickstarter side and pop your questions into the Q&A system and join us in the chat. So we are all the demos up to now have been in Pinnacle City. We're going to do that. I will say the game I am running for the 24-hour Epic Countdown will be in the Modern Gods setting. But if you want to play pre-gen from Pinnacle City, we have established that there is crossover now. They've established that those characters can come through dimensional gates and join in stuff. And also, there's also the possibility there's just going to be doppelgangers too. In fact, that's one thing I realized I want to talk to Len about is whether we want to just say that there is a Talon that exists in both universes. I think that actually could be also pretty cool. But for purposes of those of you who have been playing, I imagine you would want to play the same character as though they'd been through all the experiences, like a little mini campaign through the 1-hour demos we've done. So if you want to play it that way, it's perfectly fine. So tonight's scenario is described as, the title was Fire. Each of you is directly associated with the AEGIS agency, which is the federal agency. I actually think it's a global agency that deals with paranormals, preternatural events, and things like that. Pinnacle City is one of their main headquarters places for regional control. UMBRA is a shadowy, see what I did there, organization that has a countering effect, if you will. AEGIS, a number of agents frequently get into it with other stuff. And unfortunately, AEGIS agents got into a firefight with a bunch of UMBRA operatives who were targeting a industrial facility, some sort of industrial sabotage action in the industrial part of Pinnacle City, which unfortunately set off a huge fire. So all of you have been called in to help with the disaster relief. This is huge. It's gotten way out of hand. There was lots of explosions, lots of damage. There's definitely hurt people and stuff like that. So you can imagine an entire section of the city is actually on fire in a pretty huge way. So that's kind of a big deal. So the way disaster rules work, if you choose whether to have a minor disaster or a major disaster, we're treating this tonight as a major disaster. On a major disaster, I, the Game Master, will establish 6 of the 9 challenges that you will need to overcome as a team. Then you creatively will need to come up with, and collectively come up with 3 additional challenges. Now, I don't want to leave you guys hanging, so I have suggestions if you just kind of brain seize on it. But you guys should be thinking about it now if you haven't come up with another challenge that you would like to add to the mix, up to a total of 9. With those 9 challenges, there's going to be variable difficulties in achieving success with these challenges. A lot is going to depend on how you decide to face said challenge. Then I will set the difficulty of that challenge based on what you're trying to do to resolve it. I will also say that this is like a little thing that I play with as a GM. You guys can team up on challenges to make it easier, but the challenges that you leave untouched over time can get harder. So splitting up means you can prevent them from getting harder, but teaming up means you have an easier chance of getting them taken care of. And depending on which ones you do in what order, a tactical approach, you can occasionally offset that problem. Yes, Shawn.
So, do you just tell us your 6 challenges first before we come up with
ours? I was going to go ahead and tell you. Hey, sweetie. That's Curran, everybody.
Hey.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what the 6 challenges at this point are, and then you can come up with the other 3 as we get through these. First off, you need to contain the fire away from civilian areas. There's a section of the place that's on fire that is starting to move into residential spaces, so that's going to be dealt with. You need to also stop the flames from setting off a petrochem plant, because they're getting ridiculously close to one of those ubiquitous petrochem plants. You don't even know why they would ever put them near a city, but they did, and you probably want to make that not happen. Looks like William King is experiencing technical difficulties. You guys are hearing me okay, though, right? Everybody's good? Right? And if there's anybody else in the chat having a problem, hang on. So before we go too much further with this, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go off air and exit broadcast view for a second, because I'm the one that launched it, and then relaunch it again and see how that goes. Just in case, because we've had this problem before and it turned out better to do that. So hang on a second.
All right, I guess we win.
Woo! Woohoo! Game Master's down. Herbert,
Yes.
or Norbert, where are you from in Germany?
Well, I'm from a town called Erlangen, where I still live. It's just a bit north of Norbert.
Morgan.
Okay.
And
Hello?
did that help?
Back.
Did that people who were in the chat? Mr. Walsh has joined us now.
How are you, sir?
Good, sir. And yourself?
Oh.
All right. So, folks in the chat, did that reset help? We have a wee one in the background.
Yes. He's about to go to bed.
So,
Good night.
hello, wee one. Sweet dreams.
Little Oliver.
Or Sir Michael. Johua is playing Alabama Slinger. Norbert is playing TK. Brett is playing Talon. And Shawn is playing Vigilant tonight. Who would you like to play?
I believe I'm going to go for Citizen Soldier.
Citizen Soldier it is. Very good. So you have shown up to join the rest of the team to deal with the fire that was started between UMBRA agents and agents, which is describing the 6 of the 9 challenges that the group is going to need to work on solving. And then as a group, you guys need to come up with 3 more for a total of 9 challenges for the disaster. Contain the fire away from civilian areas. Stop the flames from setting off the petrochem plant. Save civilians that are in a nearby outlet mall that has also caught flame. Reroute an inbound high-speed train that is coming right for the center of the area where the flames are. And the control systems have been damaged by the fire, so you guys got to figure out how to deal with that. You need to repair the water lines, because a lot of the firefighting efforts have been damaged because the water lines got damaged in the firefight. And then ultimately, you have to control and put out the fire itself. So those are 6 of the 9 challenges that you as a team are going to have to resolve in some way.
You ain't kidding.
And I've got 3 more suggested challenges, but that's just if you guys get stuck on other ideas. So this is a much more narrative, open-ended kind of thing. There's die rolls involved, but we're not going to go in initiative order or anything like that. And again, I'm going to remind you that you can team up on a particular challenge to make it easier, but the more challenges you leave untouched over time, they can potentially get harder, unless you come up with some really cool strategic way of cutting that off at the pass kind of thing. So I will encourage you to look at all the things that you have available on your character sheet, all of the different abilities, talents, powers, and perks. And if you can find ways to creatively bring those into play, then you can use them. Does anybody have an idea that for a challenge they want to resolve and throw it out there? And again, somebody in the chat, please let me know. Can you guys hear us and see us okay? Because Mr. William King, are you still having technical difficulties? Please say something in the chat and let us know. So, first challenge. Who wants to throw something out?
I got one. How about evacuate a hospital?
All right, so wait a minute. You want to add an additional challenge, which is evacuate a hospital. Okay.
Yes.
Now,
In the path of fire.
I will add evac hospital. But so that's one of the additional challenges. Go ahead. So what I'm asking right now is if you have a suggestion for an additional challenge or how you want to go ahead and tackle one of the existing challenges.
I would like to use my contacts in the police to tackle the saving civilians from the strip mall. Being able to, divert police assistance to there so we can worry about some of the other rather large high-speed train fixing water line stuff. So,
all right, so you're going to use contacts to pull some people in to handle another thing. You're basically want to redirect resources and assets and stuff like that to try to handle that. All right, well, how about because you're using contacts, I'm going to ask you to make a quick command roll, but it's only an average difficulty, which means a threshold of 1. Oh, we lost our Shawn. Hopefully he'll be back. And again, I'm asking somebody in the chat, please say something. Do you hear and read us or not? Just lost everyone.
Oh.
Well, Leonard's got me just fine. King Zombie.
Yeah, I see everybody.
I can see you talking to us. So
I'm here.
Everybody's there. King Zombie, just grab the link and come back in.
Nanu.
Dude, I don't know what to tell you. Restart, do something. I got to run the game. All right, so what'd you get on your roll?
8 successes.
8 successes. Holy crap.
4 6s.
I'm just going to call that one an extra special solve. You handled that brilliantly. No problem at all. And in fact, I'm just going to, and that was going to be like a free action because you use your contacts very effectively there. So I'm not going to have that even impact the time being used by the rest of you for other challenges. I'm going to, Shawn's back. Good. Okay, very good. Looking.
Yay.
Oh yeah, Leonard, Brett, do your dice actually have anything other than 6s on them?
That was not told to me as being a rule.
That is in fact the rule. You have to use dice that have spread 1 through 6 normal.
There's numbers.
Okay, all right. But are those the dice you're actually using, Brett?
I will neither confirm nor deny that statement.
All right. So I'm just going to go in order of the Brady Bunch that's showing on my screen. Johua.
So I want to.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
So I want to try to super speed vacuum around the residential area to try to kill the fire that's starting to surround it. If I heard you right.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that idea. Now, when somebody throws the thing out, if anybody else wants to team up on a thing, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and let them do that. Now, I'm going to say this is an inhuman challenge to do what you're doing as fast as you're doing. So that is a threshold of 5. So you need to beat a 5 if you want to quickly put that fire out.
4's count as 1, right?
Yes, 2's count as 1, 4's count as 1, 6's count as 2 successes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 6.
You just beat the threshold, so that what this means is you get to describe what happens, but I get to embellish. So you go ahead and describe what happened.
Well, Alabama Slammer, she hears, I guess, over the police radio or from AEGIS about heading towards the residential area. So she rushes there. She quickly runs from home to home going, "Hold on, it's all okay. I got this." And then just starts running around really fast. And that's it. Yeah.
And she creates this vortex that causes the flames to all go up and go woof. Unfortunately, a little bit of that actually gets redirected instead and is now impacting the petrochem fire situation and is going to make it slightly more difficult than it would have been to deal with.
Oops.
So that's the embellishment, is that whoever's dealing with the petrochem explosion situation, it might be slightly harder than was anticipated.
It's almost like we're working with Team Flash.
Right?
Without Cisco.
All right,
Just
so
make it, damn it, Timmy.
hopefully Shawn will be able to drop back in for us in a minute. But Norbert, let's see what you would like to what challenge you'd like to take on and how you'd like to handle it.
I was thinking about the mall first, also the hospital, or the big buildings that have people in it. And if I got this right, my force field is an area power. So being a flying hero, I should be able to use my flight along with a force field, and this would be sort of the classic comic book panel where I can swoop up several people. They are in the force field bubble.
Yep.
And I carry them as many as I can get out of a crowd.
All right, so you're going to go evacuate the hospital. We've already handled the situation with the mall. Since it's such a great description, I'm only going to make that a brutal challenge as opposed to like superhuman. See if you can get them out fast enough and without causing. More importantly, you're evacuating a hospital, so there are sick patients. So a little bit of fine tuning, little bit of a little bit of extra effort. Hang on, Shawn, go ahead.
I want to help him. I'm going to use my wealth, and I'm also calling in an army of Ubers.
I like it. All right. So Norbert, what that means is with his assistance, TK is going to get to roll her 12 dice force field, but she's going to get +1 die because of that really cool assist. So you get to roll 13 dice.
13. Okay. Now,
Your threshold is only a 4 in this case.
I grabbed my dice from one of those sets that had 12 dice in them, so let me get a 13.
Yeah, that can always happen in this game. I'm being told my sound is having issues again.
Nope, not from us.
Everybody, the other folks are hearing me just fine. So I'm just going to keep going. Go ahead, Norbert. What'd you get?
All right. Counting time. Okay, this is a 6, so it's 2, 4, and 6. And here we go. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 successes.
Wow. All right. So
see, it's not just me. Heroes roll good.
So you are able to coordinate with the hospital, create very effective carrying capacity stuff with your force field. We even maybe stunted a little bit to create little chambers inside for people who are like on ICU and stuff like that. So you are handling the hospital evacuation very, very effectively. So that is 3 challenges of the 9 that have been handled. Brett, what you got?
Could I add a challenge?
Okay, yes, there's still 2 challenges undefined. Go ahead.
UMBRA was actually using this as a diversion, and they're up to some other nefarious needs that we need to at least figure out where they're going or try to put a stop to it.
Funny enough, that was one of the ones I had in the can as a possible suggestion. So I
read your mind.
Yeah. So do you want to go ahead and try to tackle that?
Well, I want everybody else. I've already done one. So.
Oh, that's right. You did do one. Okay. So Alabama Slammer has gone. Hey, Michael. Let's see what's in this.
Hey now. I think I'm going to go for rerouting the train. I'm going to use my super strength to physically pick up the rails and turn them off into a safer area.
Well, that's a brute force approach. I like it. I'm going to say that is an inhuman challenge, though, to pull this off. So your threshold is a 5 there, my friend.
I will try my best.
I'm going to give them a resolve to help them out.
All right, so you're getting
communication. What a guy!
You're getting communication over the channel, which will give you +1 die.
Let's see.
How many dice is that now?
12.
Oh, okay. I'll keep my resolve
Plus my
now.
1 for 13.
Plus your 1 for 13.
Oh yeah.
2. 6 successes. Actually, no, 7.
Ah, woo! That was close. Actually, that still may be. Let me check something there just to remember. Nope. So you get to describe, but I do get an embellishment. So go ahead.
So he attempts to find an earlier fork, and he's trying to pull back on the actual physical switch lever, but it's old, it's rusted, it's stuck, and it snaps off in his hand. So he physically just gets in the middle of the rails. He picks them up on both sides. He's straining, he's pulling. He finally rips them up out of the ground, and he turns them off as he hears a train squealing off in the distance, and he jumps off just in time.
And the train is, in fact, very effectively diverted away. However, doing all that sent a power surge into the local power grid, and that's going to have some impactful. That's going to have an impact on things. But you do save the people and the train, so very well done on that. Who's not gone? Shawn. Well, Shawn, you assisted on one.
Okay, fair enough.
Did so. But we'll go ahead and we'll kind of reverse order now. We'll start with you for the next challenge.
Oh, yay. I want to investigate AEGIS's evil, well, not AEGIS, the other group, I forgot their name, their evil plan, what this distraction is really covering up. So
you are after the UMBRA agency thing that's going on, what they're up to. All right, well,
yes, that
is going to be a daunting challenge, sir. So level 3.
Well, level 3, I got this. I got 6. I'm using my investigation, I'm assuming,
sure.
So...
By the way, Leonard is correct. Alternative to that, it is an extra layer that you can throw in. I was kind of avoiding it for the demos, but he is correct that instead of me having the embellishment, Michael, you could have offered a compromise, which is you basically could have taken the whole thing, but then it would have been up to you to describe a lesser success and throw in whatever problems that was for yourself. So that is not worried about it. but in this case, I kind of like what we came up with there. All right, so what'd you get?
I got a 2, so I'm gonna spend resolve.
Okay.
Because that was terrible. That was terrible. Well, that was better. 5.
5 over 3 means that is a success. So let's go ahead and cover that. Let's cover that. What Len was saying. Either you just describe what happens, and you get to say, because you guys came up with the challenge and everything, and then I'm going to throw a little something extra on top of it, or you can describe what happens, but you have to describe it as less than stellar success.
I will describe part of it because I'm not sure what I discovered, but I'm going to say that I've been doing some background research into UMBRA due to my other things I'm doing in the city as vigilant, and so I had kind of a heads up on what was going on, and I kind of connected the dots to their ultimate goal of Shawn.
Well, their ultimate goal is to actually raid a research firm that has some quantum dimensional technology that they were secretly developing, and they were doing it in the industrial area, in a warehouse that had been converted over, so it's completely off the books and very secret stuff. You're not entirely sure who the hell even owns the warehouse, so that's maybe even another agency that UMBRA is working against, which is getting this even more and more complicated. And in fact, that's going to be the extra thing, is that further complications for stories oncoming as we deal with that situation. But you will successfully uncover what it is that they were trying to divert everybody's attention from. So we'll say that was more or less a success, as you're now putting AEGIS agents and your own people onto going in and stopping them from grabbing whatever it is they're trying to grab. All right. Yes, Johua.
May I add the last complication?
Yes.
The power surge that was caused from rerouting the train has destabilized the experiment going on in the warehouse facility.
Oh.
So the warehouse thing is the quantum shift technology is now overloading, and causing a serious problem.
Nice.
All right. Norbert,
Are you not a villain?
what do you want to do for your next challenge? Here's what we have left. We have, we brought Brett that time. We still have the petrochemical plant, which things are getting much worse at. We have repair the water lines. We have actually putting the fire out. And now we have the warehouse with the weird tech experiment going on inside it is overloading, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff happening over there.
All right. Yes, the petrochem facility is where I want to go. But I'd also like to make sure to take at least one of the other heroes with me into that general area.
Okay. Talon is volunteering.
That's fine.
So Talon and TK are headed into the petrochem plant.
Right. So I'm now going to say to Talon, look, knowing my power set, I can probably move a lot of things, but I need to make sure that we can get something as a barrier to stop the fire or to diminish the fire. I can move things, I can move people, but I have to get something else done because the fire may still spread, notwithstanding force fields.
What I would actually want to look for is in the, normal stereotypical huge industrial park, there's got to be a water tower somewhere near.
Okay, good, yeah.
I want to try to either knock that one into the path and deluge the fire that way, or maybe using TK's telekinesis, we can move the top of the water tower and...
All right, so you're scouting out sources of water and fire suppression to guide TK's efforts to get this thing under control, which is good because, and just one second, Michael, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a level 7, it's a threshold 7 challenge because of the previous complications. This is on the verge of blowing up. Citizen Soldier, yes.
Could Citizen Soldier use leadership to coordinate with local fire departments since it's coming towards a chemical plant in order to get specific extinguishers and specific types of chemicals in order to counteract it?
So you are coming on scene to help coordinate local people, and you also have contacts in those areas as well, as I recall. So yes, and the extra effort there is that because you have the leadership power, that means if this goes badly, you can give Norbert a reroll for free, and if things don't go well. So
that's the game plan.
You're using your contacts and stuff like that, which I'll give a +1 bonus die, and I'm going to let Talon's efforts also give a +1 bonus die. So Norbert, that means you're going to get to use your telekinesis power with +2 bonus dice, so total 14 dice.
14, right? Okay.
But your threshold is 7, so
don't take automatic success.
You're going to need a better than average roll here.
But I'm just getting used to this because now I have this many dice in my hand.
9 handfuls of dice. I tell you, I love this.
Shaking a lot of dice.
Right. Okay. Now, okay, there are some successes. Just let me make sure here. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3 successes. Okay, 5. Number 2. Hold on. Okay, 3. 5, 6. And here's another 6, so that's 8 successes. Yeah. Remains 8. 8.
All right. That will be a success.
Can I spend a resolve to give him an extra
A
chance?
giant foam dice.
You want for an extra die?
Yes.
I'll spend one too, just in case.
They want you to roll 2 more dice. They're spending their resolve to encourage you to roll 2 more dice. But these dice get added to your total. Well, they
Yes.
think it's
Look what I got.
Oh! So
Oh!
you guys convert that to an absolute success. So, Norbert, You and Talon, would you typically get to describe the scene? How did this play out? With the petrochem plant about to explode, you guys pull it out. What happened?
Could I embellish a part?
Yeah, I was gonna, Norbert described the scene, and then you throw something on top of it.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm rushing through the main area with the fire blazing around the edges of the panel. And I'm flying close to the ground with major pieces of the technical setup in my force bubble left and right, like having two Green Lantern-like bubbles on the sides, and swooping through, going with the maximum force and maximum speed that I can, rushing toward the reader, and then out of the building.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Very, very cool. You're pulling stuff out of the way so it doesn't get blown up. Talon.
As soon as I can find that water tower, I would use my wings and swoop by and slashing at it with my strike ability to basically remove the tower part from its moorings, yelling out, TK, grab this when it falls, and hopefully we can use it to deluge the rest of that fire.
And there it is. You guys thoroughly handle it, and Citizen Soldier brings in police and firefighters and other folks to help bring it all under control and start evacuating people and getting the scene under control. So that was very well done. We still have a problem with water lines, and there is a warehouse that has some weird tech experiment that is going completely berserk. Speaking of tech problems, poor Shawn is still having tech problems, and we still need to actually put the fire out itself.
Shawn,
yes?
Just a tiny interruption. When do we approximately get to know the events? Is there an intercom we're using? Do we have phones?
It's assumed that you guys have communication devices, and the AEGIS has hooked you guys up with basically like earbud style communication devices and stuff like that. So if there is another character that has the ability to create mind link between characters, Sidearm has that, and he's used that in the past too. But you guys do have a high tech communication system, no problem at all. All right, so like I said, they're calling for help to get the water lines repaired. They're, of course, calling to get the fire itself put out, and there's a whole bunch of people freaking out about this warehouse that's got these weird energy waves coming out of it and people running for their lives. So, Alabama Slammer, I think we're back to you for action.
So over the intercom, oh gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'll make it up to you. Free beer tonight. My treat. I got this. Okay. And then she rushes off to, because I'm going to, I don't know if she knows yet about the warehouse. She's going to rush off to try and fix the water lines because she's a little afraid she's going to cause a bigger fire if she tries to put out the current fire.
Okay. What does she have how does she wish to approach fixing the water lines? She's currently do everything at super speed. But does she have what? For example, what would her technology skill be?
3 dice.
Okay.
Maybe.
But does anybody want to come in and help her deal with that? All right. Does anybody with technology, I should say, want to come in?
Guys, there's blinking buttons and switches.
I'm an old man.
The red one.
I'm an old man.
Shawn is flying over to help guide you with that process, and I'm seeing Shawn hold up a resolve. What's that for?
Yep.
What's the resolve for?
To help him with his die roll.
Ah, okay.
I shall give him a resolve also.
Do you want to spend that resolve to say that you were able to quickly prepare for such emergencies, and you knew
what?
That
sure, I was thinking about something like that. I was thinking about that actually.
You knew that one day you may have to teach Alabama Slammer how to handle certain technological challenges at super speed, so you actually have a device for that.
I realize she's not quite as clever or as quick as I am mentally. I mean, she's smart, she's fast and all, but technology's not her thing. So absolutely, I prepared a little tutorial on systems for her.
All right, what is your technology skill, Vigilant?
3 dice.
Really? Well,
You should have seen the expression on your face, Shawn.
I'm like, 3? But,
Okay.
you know, I had time to research it. That's why I prepared.
So I'm going to give her the benefit of half your technology dice rounded up, added to her, so she'll get 5 technology effectively for what you've done. Yes, Brett.
Could I use, because I was thinking that was going to be my next one, was to try to repair the water lines. Can I use my super senses of telescopic vision to see where there might be a problem?
So you're providing overwatch and guidance for the bonus die. So in this case, Alabama Slammer, you're doing this at super speed, and I'm taking that into account. You have 5 dice you can roll, plus 1 from Brett. So you get to roll 6 dice technology. This is going to be a daunting task. It would be a brutal task, except that you're able to do it so fast, and with such guidance, I'm dropping it down to just a daunting task. So threshold 3.
Roll 3.
So you're going to roll 6 dice. Your target number is 3.
Can I add one of my resolve too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You guys can spend all the resolve you want. Yes, spend the resolve so that when we have the imaginary big epic fight against the bad guys later, you won't have it. Apparently, your dice love you tonight.
I had to show
It's not just me.
No, he purchased them from the same store as Brett.
So 2, 4, 5. 5 successes.
Loadeddice.com, was that it, Brett?
5. Now,
You can shop my Etsy store later.
that is a success.
Sweet.
That is a success, but it is with embellishment. So we're just going to kind of, I mean, we know what you're trying to do. You're running through and doing all that kind of stuff. It is unfortunately a super speed and not the best job. So the systems are working, but they could be working a lot better. Too bad you guys didn't have like a seriously high-tech expert to jump on that. But you did the best you could with the guidance you had and the preparation you had. That leaves us the actual putting out of the fire and dealing with the weird warehouse situation. Citizen Soldier, what are you up to?
I'm still coordinating with the fire department, so I'll jump on actually putting out the fire using leadership.
Okay, so leadership in this case is a power that lets you do a certain kind of thing. In this case, we're going to be looking at your command talent.
Okay.
However, because you have the leadership ability, I will give you a bonus die just because you have that. And in this case, it's you're really going all in with that kind of thing.
So then 7 overall?
I'm sorry?
I said 7 overall then?
So what's your command? 6?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, you'll get to roll 7 dice.
Okay.
This is going to unfortunately be a brutal challenge to get this.
I'm going to spend a couple of resolve.
All right. Okay.
I'll turn it to 9. So I'll spend 2.
All right, so you're spending 2 resolve to really go all in on handling that.
Hey, Shawn, would we be able to go all in, even though that's a combat?
No, all in was with small a and small I.
I was just asking if we could.
Yeah, 'cause there's all in requires a combat sacrifice kind of situation, and we're not dealing with that. So
6.
6 successes. I called it a brutal challenge, which was 4. So you do succeed. There are hot spots everywhere, and it's going to take a little more time to get it all completely controlled. But for the most part, that fire is under control. That leaves the warehouse situation, which unfortunately we keep losing Shawn. I was going to actually let him take lead on that one. You're here. Okay. All right. So I was going to, since your character discovered the situation, I was going to let you take lead on it. I'm going to say everybody else is still finishing up what they're doing. It's all down to Vigilant to deal with this situation. So if you cannot get back on with the broadcast, then let us know. Okay, so let us know one way or another what it is you're doing. You're spending resolve. No, not warehouse. To use preparation. He's spending resolve to use preparation. All right, because you were investigating. I'm going to run with this. I know there's been a lot of tech crime. Yep, that's true. So you spend a resolve to be prepared, and you in fact have a quantum neutralizer, a tech dampening device.
It fits right in his pocket.
And you go in and you set that thing off, and you know what? I'm just going to let it roll. There's a flash of an effect, and then all of a sudden everything goes dark. And just because it's funny to me, Vigilant disappears. I mean, Shawn's been disappearing all night anyway. So Vigilant disappears as a dun 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 for the aftermath. However, you did successfully accomplish all 9 goals. And the way that the disaster rules work is if you guys get full description of what happened. Since we did a lot of describing of stuff, as we were going, it's kind of up to you guys how you want to do it. But what I'm going to say is I'm going to give each of you guys sort of a victory lap to describe the aftermath for your character in the aftermath of this fire disaster scenario. We'll start with Shawn since he's back. So Vigilant disappeared, but then he reappears where? And tell us what's going on. You guys all get full description of however you want to do what the after the disaster. Can't hear you.
I'm just confused. Where'd I go?
So
what happened?
You
I
tell
have
me.
mild amnesia.
He's traumatized.
So do you want to leave it open then?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it open.
Well, you are looking around, and you're on an island, and there's a huge swirling storm above you. It is swirling like massive, but you can already tell it's stationary. Right ahead of you is this big gleaming building, and it actually says Storm Island. So, I'm gonna leave it there. Out of character, right. You're in the Modern Gods universe right now. All right, Talon, what is your victory lap aftermath?
So I would basically just be soaring through, using my command to kind of bark out the areas where there's still the hot spots, and making sure nobody's poodles or animals of any sort are getting caught in the fire. So
those poodles.
I'd be doing my victory lap by flying through, all Falcon-esque.
Right. Animal rescue. I like it. Citizen Soldier, what is the aftermath victory lap for you?
He's covered in soot and foam and this and that and the other thing, and he's just going around and thanking everybody from the fire department with handshakes for their service.
And they're all very happy to see Citizen Soldier. He's getting high fives and requests for autographs and all kinds of stuff. The chief of police shows up and thanks you personally. The chief of firefighting, not to be outdone, shows up and actually slaps a firefighter badge like on your uniform. It's like you're an honorary firefighter for from now on, kind of thing. TK, what is the aftermath of disaster relief for you like?
Okay, I just got done dealing with the water tower, and I pretty much emptied out the water tower. So when I reappear, my costume is drenched, but it is all sort of attractively drenched, and my hair is still partially.
All right, the next time you play this character, you're getting a bonus resolve.
Let me see. And I was just imagining her returning to reunite with 3 or 4 of the others, and then she sits down on a piece of wreckage overlooking the buildings that we took care of on the edge of the city, on some wreckage.
Very good.
Right.
Very cool. waiting for Alabama Summer to show up with the beer.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, there was.
Speaking of Alabama Slammer.
So I want to be like, looking around all happy it's out, and I'm going to kind of just like slip a cell phone in my pocket and be all like, boss, how full is my tab? And then I want to look over, I want to see TK, and I'm like, oh, hold on. Oh, sugar, you're soaked. And I want to take, both my hands and go like this really fast, like a hairdryer on her.
Your tab, I've shut your tab down as the voice is coming over the phone. We'll say that's the last panel of the comment for that one. Fortunately for you guys, the chief of police will be more than happy to pick up the tab. Yes, Brett, what?
I got to ask, at what point does Citizen Soldier have too many keys to the city?
You've got like a freaking, vault full of them. So,
I'd hate to see that key ring.
Yeah, that's
so
But
that's,
you can carry it.
That's the disaster rules, guys. And in fact, so that's just a basic idea of how you can handle, complex, lots of things going on that isn't necessarily a fight. And you can probably, if some of you have the GM thing going on in your head, you can also see how that could also apply to other interesting, extended challenge type things, right? It's a nice structure to play with. And I've actually used it for a couple of other interesting sequences that really try to delve into all the things that characters can do with their powers and other stuff outside of just find the bad guys, beat the bad guys, put the bad guys in jail, and then worry about whether my personal life is falling apart. All of which are fantastic elements of comic book roleplay, but I really love this aspect. And I mean, I'm certain other superhero games have touched on it in one way or another. I've never found a system that has quite dealt with it at this level. So just wanted to know what you guys thought. Johua, what did you think of the disaster rules?
They were very interesting, especially the player interaction to it, giving us the ability to exasperate and make things more difficult for ourselves. It's a nice way of including the player into the making of the world. So I really liked that. Also, I really like the embellishment phase. It's very Murphy's Law. So that was great.
Very good. Michael.
I'm really into them. Being a GM myself, I'm really into the fact that you get to a point that I have two types of players as it is about if they're going to embellish or if they're going to kind of hold off. And especially if you're broadcasting, it helps that you can jump in and take over. So it has both of those aspects that really turn me on as a storyteller personally.
Thank you very much. Norbert, what'd you think?
Oh, I liked it all. I enjoyed it very much. Now, I didn't look at the disaster rules as such. I know you posted the little thing before. But, I realized the way you set it up with the 6 challenges, that all made perfect sense. So we had at least 6 locations to go to, 6 little scenes. And it was great to see that we each had something that instantly came to mind, so we all something that could help with that situation, because I really don't like it when I get the feeling as a GM that there's someone who would like to do, and then they're looking at the character sheet, and they can't figure out, what might be, what might help, or, I'm getting all these things, all these items on my sheet, and I don't know which applies or I use. That worked nicely. And I got great rolls here.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Brett's dice karma is spreading out across the internet for all you guys. But I will say, I hope we get a chance to get you a chance to actually do a straight up, bad guy fight as well, because there's a lot more push and pull back and forth on that. Mm-hmm. But the task resolution system is pretty much the same anyway, right? It's a task against a static challenge instead of against an opposed challenge. But there's a lot of fun that can be had with that exact, narrative. And again, I want to reiterate, and I should have asked because you're a long-standing superhero player, so I kind of assumed, but I should have asked. every player gets to decide if they want to play narrative or traditional style. If they are more comfortable letting the GM describe things, then they take the GM takes the narrative and just describes it in more traditional fashion, and each player can play the way they want to at the same table, and it's perfectly, parallel and just fine. But you ran off with the narrations exactly as I was hoping for. So that was really awesome. Brett, no one cares what you think, so we're just gonna move on. I'm kidding. I love you, Brett. I'm just kidding.
Well, here's the first thing I'm going to say: the static target numbers provide us much more of a challenge than when you're rolling, Shawn. So,
shut up.
But as you know, me coming
true, but yeah.
But as you know, me coming from Savage Worlds with the dramatic tasks, I think this system, the disasters, and the set number of challenges, I think that blows it out of the water. I love the fact that things can change, because you were involved in one of my games where a dramatic task was solved on one roll.
Yeah.
That's not all that dramatic. This one, it can't be solved at one time. So it actually does take teamwork, and I love the narration and the storytelling aspect. So kudos to you and Len.
Thank you very, very much. Now, Len gets a lot of the credit on that one, because that was...
we can't keep saying that to him, though.
So just like I like to do at the end of everything, we are at $28,807 with 391 backers, 3 days to go. We are funded. We are hoping to get a couple of stretch goals, and just more importantly, we want more people to have this game in their hands when this is all said and done, out there playing and having a good time. So it's all good. Every bit of it is awesome. I will remind everybody of the 24-hour Epic Countdown Party, which starts noon Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific Sunday morning, and goes literally 24 hours until the Kickstarter closes the following day on Monday, because I'm just that stupid. The first part of the day, I'll be live streaming a game that my friend Ed Doolittle is going to be running for us. It's actually his ongoing Epic Age game, which is another setting that we're talking about publishing at some point down the road. And then starting into that, later in the afternoon, evening, it'll be more open to ongoing demos and gaming and stuff like that, and party and what have you, and silliness and fun and what have you. So, hey, Norbert, you'll probably be at some point within that 24-hour period will be a reasonable period of time.
I'm going to a gaming con on Saturday, but it's a one-day con. It's a one-day. Okay. It'll be wrapped up by Saturday evening.
So again, as far as I'm sure there'll be some period of time within that 24-hour period that you'll be like wide awake and everything's fine. I'll be, a zombie, but I'll still be running and doing stuff. So
lots of caffeine.
Lots of caffeine. Yes, absolutely. I think, let me just check the schedule real quick. I think we've got one more live demo, and that's on Saturday morning. Which will be noon EST, 9 a.m. PST, because I'm just that stupid. And then right after that, we're doing a live stream of my ATF Denver game, my campaign that I'm running locally. So that'll be going live stream very shortly after the 1 hour demo. So Saturday's going to be a day of gaming. And then Sunday's going to be, what am I doing? What God?
You're pushing it out there, Shawn, and it's definitely working.
Appreciate it. Well, I'm gonna call it there. Thank you guys very much. I'm gonna go have something to eat, and you guys, as always, peace out. And the world
needs heroes.
Heroes.
See you guys.
A pleasure playing with you guys.
Ditto. It was great fun. Yeah. Have a good night.
So.
Crud.